The world remembers the Holocaust with sadness and fear. The Nazis' systematic killing of 6 million Jewish people is a serious warning from history. It's hard to understand how something so terrible could happen, but it started with a careful plan. This plan, horrifying in its details, was the focus of the Wannsee Conference. On January 20th, 1942, important Nazi officials met at a house in Wannsee, a town near Berlin. Their goal to finalize what they called the final solution to the Jewish question. This terrible name hid a horrible truth, the planned murder of all Jewish people in Europe. The Wannsee Conference wasn't a sudden event, it was a turning point. The Nazis had been treating Jewish people unfairly, but this meeting changed things. Now they planned to kill all of them. The conference made this official, turning a terrible idea into a terrifying plan. The people at this meeting knew exactly what they were doing. They weren't just following orders. They were actively planning mass murder. The Wannsee Conference reminds us how dangerous unchecked hate can be and how terrible things can happen when evil people have power. It shows how seemingly normal people can do incredibly cruel things. It also shows us how important it is to remember this dark time. Only by remembering can we hope to stop something like this from happening again. The Wannsee Conference looked normal on the outside. The elegant house hid the horrifying conversations happening inside. 15 important Nazi and government officials were there, showing how serious the Nazis were about the final solution. It was a chilling display of how organized they were, with each person there playing a part in the plan to kill millions. Reinhard Heydrich, an important leader in charge of the Reich Main Security Office, led the meeting. He was one of the main planners of the Holocaust and was known for being cruel. He explained the final solution to everyone, saying they needed to get rid of all Jewish people. Adolf Eichmann, who worked for Heydrich and was a key organizer of the Holocaust, was also there. Eichmann was good at organizing and was in charge of sending Jewish people to camps where they would be killed. The people at the meeting were from different parts of the Nazi government, showing how many parts of the government were involved in the Holocaust. Heinrich Müller, the head of the Gestapo, the Nazi secret police, was there. Dr. Josef Bühler, an important official in occupied Poland, talked about the areas where the camps would be built. The people at the Wannsee Conference weren't just following orders blindly. They were educated men, many with advanced degrees, who knew what they were doing was wrong. Dr. Roland Freisler, an important official in the legal system, was in charge of twisting the laws to make the Nazis' terrible actions seem legal. Him being there showed that the Nazis wanted to make it look like the genocide was legal. Dr. Wilhelm Stuckart, an important official in the government, was in charge of making laws that took away the rights of Jewish people. He made sure that the final solution fit into the Nazis' existing laws. These men and others like them helped turn hate into laws and then into mass murder. The fact that such important officials were there shows how carefully planned the Holocaust was. It wasn't just a few acts of violence, but a planned campaign of killing. The Wannsee Conference shows that evil can happen even in normal-looking meetings. The main topic at Wannsee was simple and horrifying: the systematic murder of Europe's Jews. Heydrich explained the plan in detail. He talked about moving people, forcing them to work, and finally killing them. The people at the meeting didn't seem to care that this was wrong. They only worried about how to do it. Heydrich's plan was to round up Jewish people from all over Nazi-occupied Europe. He wanted to use trains to send millions of people to killing camps in Poland. These camps were already running, but they needed to be bigger. Heydrich's goal was to kill all the Jewish people in Europe. The people at Wannsee talked about these plans in a cold way that is hard to understand. They talked about how to kill the most people, the fastest way to do it, and how to get rid of the bodies. The notes from the meeting show how little they cared about human life. The Wannsee Conference on January 20th, 1942 was a terrifying turning point for the Nazis. Important officials met to plan the systematic extermination of Jewish people across Europe. This meeting wasn't just about making rules, it was about how to carry out genocide efficiently. The notes from the meeting show how they used normal-sounding words to hide their terrible plans. Words like evacuation and special treatment really meant mass murder. This is where they carefully planned the Holocaust, starting one of the darkest times in history. The evidence from the Wannsee Conference is clear. Documents and stories show the horrifying extent of the Nazis' plans. Every word, every signature shows how carefully they planned the Holocaust. This wasn't just a few bad people acting alone. It was a systematic effort by people in power. After the Wannsee Conference, the Holocaust got much worse, much faster. The Nazis started killing people more quickly. They emptied the ghettos and sent more people to the death camps. The decisions made in that meeting led to the deaths of millions of people. After the war, the world wanted justice. The Nuremberg trials punished some of the people who committed these terrible crimes, but the memory of the Holocaust remained. The stories and evidence from the trials showed how important it is to stop bad things from happening and to punish those responsible. As we think about the Wannsee Conference and what happened afterward, it's important to remember the lessons from history. We must always fight against hate and prejudice. By remembering the past, we honor the victims and try to make sure that nothing like this ever happens again. Remembering the Holocaust reminds us how cruel people can be and how important compassion and justice are.